Hello there and welcome to Map Success Coaching. I am the creator of Map Success Coaching and your host, Cornelius Simon, aka Mr. Confidence. I was watching a movie just this past weekend or the other weekend, and it was, if you remember the movie Focus, if you haven't seen the movie Focus with Will Smith, I want to encourage you to go out and watch this movie. It is a very eye-opening movie in terms of what focus can do for you and what happens if you lose focus. And so in this movie here, there was a time where Will Smith he was in the groove. He was doing his thing. He was, making good decisions. All these people that was working for him as a con man, all the people that was working for him were making good decisions, and everything was just flowing. He was in focus. He had laser focus on what to do. And if there's something about when you are in focus or when you have focus, everything becomes easier. It becomes more clear. You can make quick decisions. You can see how things are going to play out. Why? Because focus has with it an energy, or I like to call it energy force, that will allow you to penetrate through things so that you can make things happen, so that you can have the success that you desire. But there was a point in the movie where he allowed someone to come into his life, a woman in this particular instance, and it took him off focus. And so I want to talk to you today about, real briefly here, three ways loss of focus can prevent you from succeeding, prevent you from getting to that next level, prevent you from having the success that you desire to have. And so we want to talk about that here for the next few minutes. Let's look at this here. So again, remember, when you're in focus, if you're already in focus now, and you feel yourself kind of drifting a little bit, you can't stay focused, you're being, be easily distracted by certain things, or you kind of bouncing from this off to this here, be careful that you don't lose focus. You're almost there. Keep pressing forward, because as you focus your energy, your thoughts, and your actions, when all those three things line up, you are able to penetrate through and break through to that next level of your success so that you can achieve, succeed, and thrive. And that's what Map Success Coaching is all about. That's why I created Map Success Coaching, to be able to help you achieve, succeed, and thrive. Okay, so let's look at this here. What are three ways that loss of focus? There's more, obviously there's more, but I just want to kind of give you three quick tips that I learned from watching this movie here just this past weekend. 3 tips to things that can help you, that will prevent you from succeeding and achieving if you lose focus. Number 1, when you lose focus, or as you're losing focus, when you lose focus, it causes you to make poor or bad decisions. You know what? You become indecisive about what you want to do. You maybe overthink things. You maybe look at things in a different perspective that you wouldn't have looked at it that way if you had focus. And so if you're finding yourself becoming, you were once like, I make a decision like this here, I can make a decision like that. And now you're feeling like, well, should I do this or should I not do this? Or you made a decision and it came out to be a bad decision or a poor decision. Maybe you're on the bench of losing focus. And when you lose focus, when you lose that mental energy, it causes you again to make poor decisions or make untimely decisions, and we want to avoid that. If I go back to that movie from Will Smith, Focus, he was making poor decisions. He was making bad decisions because he lost focus. The second thing that can happen if you lose focus, and that will prevent you from succeeding, is that when you lose focus, listen to this, when you lose focus, or as you lose focus, you are losing your edge. You don't become as sharp. You're not as sharp as you was before. You don't have that quick thinking, that quick ability to make a decision or to do that. Your skill level, the talent that you have, and your ability to be really sharp and responsive in a nick of time, you begin losing that as you lose focus. So not only are you making poor decisions or run the risk of making poor decisions, you're also running the risk of losing, if not already, losing your edge on what you do best. You know what? It's nothing worse to be sharp at sharp at a given time. For years you've been doing this like clockwork, and then all of a sudden you feel like, why didn't I do this? Why couldn't I do this? Why couldn't I respond this way here? Maybe you have lost focus, because again, when you are focused, you are putting your mental energy or your thought energy, your words and your actions towards something, and that energy force, that force of focus, can penetrate through whatever barrier that's in your way and allow you to break through to that next level of your success. And so when you are not in focus, you're losing your edge. And we don't want to lose your edge. You want to lose where you are, the position that you have. You want to keep on rising and rising and rising. You want to keep on accelerating and accelerating to that next level, to the next level, to the next level. But if you're not in focus, you will lose your edge. The third thing that I see that can happen, and I saw this in this movie here, the third thing that this movie spoke to me about as it pertains to losing focus is that when you lose focus, you take yourself completely out of the game, or you run the risk of taking yourself completely out of the game. There was a scene in this movie here where Will Smith got back into the business, and I remember him talking to the guy across the table at the horse racing track. He said, "Okay, why are you here?" He said, "Because I'm broke." And come to find out that this interruption that he had, this distraction that he had, took him out of the game. Not only did he stop making good decisions, or he lost his edge, but worse yet, it took him out of the game for, I think at that time, for 3 years. So you want to be careful. You want to be careful that you don't lose focus so much so that you're unable to bounce back from it, that you don't see how you can be resilient in that ability to get back in that game. We'll talk more about that here in a few seconds. But remember, when you start losing focus, if you see yourself making poor decisions or making untimely decisions, making impulsive decisions when you once was very swift and accurate in decisions that you make, or if you find yourself losing your edge, not being as sharp, whatever it is that you do, you feel like, okay, well, I should have saw that. I would have saw that, months ago because I was sharp. That may be a sign that you're losing focus. And when you lose focus, you're unable to penetrate. I like that word. You're unable to penetrate through that barrier. We're all trying to climb to that next level. We're all trying to break through to that next level. And your focus allows you to, again, penetrate through that barrier, kind of pierce it apart, spread it apart, so that you can step through that barrier or overcome that barrier or climb over that barrier and get to that next level of success. Get to that next level of success. And the third thing that can happen by you losing focus is that you take yourself out of the game altogether. And for some people, if they're not strong enough, if they're not able to quickly bounce back, if they're not resilient, that just then becomes a downward spiral that you enter yourself in until hopefully somebody or something kind of just kick you in the butt, give you a swift kick in the tail and say, you know what, get back out there. And that's going to lead me to that'll lead me to how to get back focused, how to get your focus back. If you're watching this video now, you say, you know what, wow, yes, I was once able to do this like this here. Now I feel like, I just can't. I'm losing my edge. What's going on? You're losing focus. Now the question becomes then, okay, Cornelius, thank you for that. How do I get my focus back? Well, first thing I want to say is reflect how you got there. What brought you to this point where you started losing focus or you have lost focus? Ask yourself the question, what was going on in my life at the time when I was doing my thing? I was swift, I was making good decisions, I had my edge, I was sharp. And now all of a sudden something started to change. Reflect back on what happened at that time. And when you can identify what it was, what was changing, then you can go back and correct it. You could go back and either remove that thing, eliminate it, take that person out your life, stop that distraction, whatever it is you can go back and do. But first you got to identify, where did I lose it? If you can identify where you lost it at, that will help you be able to now get yourself back in there, get your focus back. The second thing I want to remind you to help you to get back in focus, remember your why. Why are you doing it? Why were you doing it in the very beginning? What was the big benefit? What was the purpose? What is your why? What drove you to become the kind of person that you are, to be the sharp person, to be an astute person, to know what you're doing, to be the person that can get in front of a crowd and speak? What was it that got you there? And now like, what was it? What was your why? When you can remember what was your why and start thinking about, this is why I was doing it. This is why I was so focused. This is why I was getting it done. This is why I was making swift decisions. When you can remember that why, that will push you, again, that will put you laser focused in on what you need to do in order to penetrate through that barrier so you can break through to that next level. And the third thing I want to share with you that you can do in order to get your focus back, you know what? Get back in the game. That's what you got to do. You got to get back in the game. Don't stay on the sideline. Don't just like, okay, woe is me, I'll never be able to do it, you know. No, get back in the game. If you go watch the movie Focus, you'll see that Will Smith, even though he was kind of uncertain about himself, but he still had a level of confidence that allowed him to put himself back in the game. And for him, it was a combination of two things. Number one, as he said in the movie, I was broke. I needed the money. Don't let yourself get to the point where, you know what, my back is against the wall. I have to do something. Now, that could be a good motivator for some people, but don't allow yourself to get your back against the wall. Get yourself back in the game. And I'll say it like this. Get yourself back in the game quickly, because the longer you stay out the game, the more you lose your edge. And the more you lose your edge, you'll begin to lose your focus. So what are you going to do? You're going to remember what the heck was going on when I started making that shift. Who or what entered to my life? What distraction came in that's causing me to lose focus? And number two, you're going to remember the why. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to the very beginning. Why was I doing this in the first place? When you can remember your why, it can motivate you or self-motivate you to get back in focus. Number three, how to get back in focus. You know what? Get back in there. Just get back in there. Get back in the game and start doing your thing. And as you're getting back in that game and you start moving along the things that what you know that you can do, that you were once great at, you'll start getting more focused and you become more focused. But first, you got to understand why. You got to understand what it was, what distractions were there. Reflect on your why and get back in the game. Well, I hope this was helpful for you. If you need help getting back focused, getting your focus back, contact me. I would love to work with you. Send me an email at cornelius@mapsuccesscoaching.com, and you and I can sit down and kind of maybe just strategize on a plan of how I can help you get your focus back so that you can make good decisions, so that you can ultimately break through to that next level of success so that you can achieve, succeed, and thrive.